Good evening and welcome to the FiTT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And yes, we are the FiTT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. Welcome everybody around the country and around the world. It is such a blessing to be here today to present another show about personal money management, hoping that we can enlighten you and we can give you direction and help. And if you got any questions, make sure you ask us because we're here to provide as much information as we can. We're here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Glad everybody is checking in, man. I'd like to say hello to my friends over there in Scotland that's checking in. It's about 1 in the morning there, so we really appreciate y'all that come on so late to be with us. Dote, how you doing today?
Man, I'm happy to be alive, good brother.
Oh, man, I'm so glad you're alive because I wouldn't be able to do this show by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you would.
I don't know. It wouldn't be the same. I tell you that much. I tell you that much. But Dote, just want to mention last week's show was really good, man. Moves to make when the rates drop, and the rates actually dropped, and a lot of people were wondering, and I hope you learned, and you can go back. It stays out there for 30 days on Facebook, but it stays longer out there on YouTube, and you can catch any one of our shows. We only go back to probably maybe about a year on uh, uh, YouTube. But but first, before we go any further, I must give you the disclaimer here. We are not financial advisors. We do not have any fiduciary responsibility, but we are financial educators. If you need any specific and personal information that applies to your personal situation, individual, like we say, no one size fits all. It's the old saying, though, that Jesus cuts everybody's suit differently. you know, it's no one size fit all, you all. So we just want to give that disclaimer, but we do stand behind what we talk about, so don't get it mixed up.
And we actually practice what we preach, and that's one of the reasons we do this is because we both have done quite well in the market, and a lot of things we've learned the hard way. Nobody told us this. We were talking before we started today. Had we known some of the things we know now when we first started, we'd probably be doing even better than we're doing now. So important thing is to listen and then take action. Bob always says, take action. That's the most important part.
Yeah, yeah. Just want a little another administrative thing. Please go out there and click on the like button while you're out there and the heart button. That gives us more exposure to more people. That's how Facebook works. we got a wide range of viewers. Majority of our viewers, I must admit, are over 55, but we have from college students, we have even younger, even we have some high school students on from time to time, but mostly, our audience is, and then we got a lot of people in that 35, 40 range. So we try to cover topics that are specific that everybody can use, and we always are open for you to give us, more ideas. Now, one of the things I'd like for you to do is place out there in the comment box anything we're talking about that you have a question about or you have an opinion about. Please go out there and do that. Put a comment in the box. And if there's a subject you'd like for us to cover on future shows, we're open to that too. Or if it's something that pertains to the day, if it's not, we will take time to address it today. But we try to stay on topic. But we're open, we try to keep it free flowing. And we like for it to be interactive. And since we're in a virtual studio, the way we communicate with you all is through that comment box. So please use that comment box in that manner because we really, 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 really appreciate that. Yeah, Dope. We want to get into the top of our show, and this is always everybody. And we're expecting you with this crazy environment we're living in now, what is the stock market doing?
Well, I tell you what, I'm extremely nervous, even though the market is doing quite well. Um, keep hitting records every day. The You can see for the past week, the S&P is up almost 2%. And look over there at year to date. Year to date, it's up 15%. The NASDAQ is up for the week 2%, but 18% year to date. Then we get into my holdings. I tell you what, I got to be the luckiest person in the world.
Yes, you are.
I am. Microsoft is up 9 points for the week, but look over there year to date, it's up 23%. Apple's flat for the week, and it's actually turned positive now. It's up 3% year to date. It had been struggling. NVIDIA is up 11 points for the week, 41% year to date. Google is actually down a point, but year to date it's up 29%. Even my Pfizer went up this week. It's up to 12.5% for the week, and it's back to zero for year to date. But remember, that's the one that pays me the nice sweet dividend, so I'm real happy about that. Palantir is up 8 points for the week, 146% year to date. And my latest purchase, which is United Healthcare, it's up 8 points for the week. Now, you look at that year to date column. I didn't own it at the beginning of the year. I got in here at 301. So I'm actually up 18% in the 2 or 3 weeks that I've owned this stock. So I wish I had a reason I could tell you why I've done so well, but a lot of it's luck, and I just thank God that I was actually lucky enough to pick some of these stocks, and they all are doing quite well. But I say all that to say we're in some perilous times here because, one, we probably won't get labor statistics because the government is shut down, and you got that balance that they're trying to keep between things slowing down and then the Fed further cutting interest rates to get things going again. But at the same time, you're getting a lot of other good news, which is saying the economy is already doing okay. And so if the Fed does cut interest rates and the economy is doing okay, we're going to be into some inflationary times. And it's really crazy because right now AI is pushing a lot of the tech stocks up, but things are going so well. Like I said, we've been setting records just about every day, but you just wonder if there's going to be a bubble here and things are going to explode. Between the shutdown and everybody's expecting the Fed to cut another quarter point by the end of this year. And the market is expecting further cuts the rest of this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out, especially if the shutdown continues and we aren't able to get really good numbers on the labor statistics, because you want them to be not great, but you don't want them to be so bad that, you start talking about recession. And so I'm going to wait and see how this shakes out. A lot of the stocks that I have, a lot of the stocks in the market are overvalued right now. So these next couple of months are going to be very interesting. But I invest for the long haul. I'm not looking to get out. I'm not looking to take my profits, even though I'm sitting on a bunch of them. I'm going to let it ride and see where it takes me.
Yeah, Doug, I'm sitting on about 10 stocks, and only 2 of the stocks are not doing well. Only 2 out of the 10. So I consider that pretty good. And the name of the game is you can't time the market, but it's time in the market, So consider that. Just want to let you know gold is up to $3,886 an ounce. Those are highs. Goals have never been up that high that I can remember. And silver is up. Gold is up $18 an ounce today, though. I don't know what's going on with that. And silver is even up to $46 an ounce. So there you go. The bond market is, holding steady around about 30 years, holding about like four, high 4%. And that's good these days because it's more than with a traditional savings account is paying. High yield savings account is paying about a high 3% right now. So if you did invest in a treasury, you're still doing good. Me and Dote invested in some treasuries a couple of years ago. Dote,
Yeah, well, it was paying about
9%.
9%.
Yeah, it was 9%. So like you say, get in on this, man, because it's about getting the most out of the money that you have. Because having it sitting in, safe in your house, not growing is not really a good way. Let's talk about.
My
Mhm.
my Roth IRAs that I put in one year, I put in a Bitcoin ETF. The next year, I put it into a gold fund. So that was I invested that in April of 24 and April of 25, and it's almost doubled at this point. I'm
Wow.
almost got double the money I put in.
Mine has doubled the money I put in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I doubled, and I had Bitcoin. I
Mhm.
had Bitcoin, and there you go. Bitcoin is up to $120,605 a coin. That's up. It's up 10%. Though from last week, it's up 10,000, almost $11,000 a coin. So
That's
something's
crazy.
going on there. The
And
crypto
you would
market.
think, but that's kind of saying the market's kind of expecting the market to be volatile because gold and those stable kind of investments do well in volatile times. So it's kind of good news, bad news. It's like it's expecting something bad to happen, you know. I mean,
Well,
gold 47% year to date.
and
Crazy.
yeah, and the cryptocurrency is up $4.2 trillion. The market cap. I mean, look at Ethereum. Ethereum is up $576. That's up 15%. That's the
In a
smart
week.
contract. That's the number two cryptocurrency. And all of them are up. Ripple is up by 12%. Binance is up by $135. It's up $1,085. I think that's the highest Binance has ever been, if I'm correct. Solano's up 19%. Something's going on, though, in the cryptocurrency market is because, with the shutdown and I guess the threat of that affecting the market, that affects the value of the dollar, especially with, this administration talking about we going, ourselves, America first, and other countries. The Mexico and Canada just signed a trade agreement. Now, we used to be in that North American trade. We're not even in that. And then several other countries are joining in trade agreements, and they're not messing with the United States because now they found they can go other places. So I think that could have some possibility on affecting the dollar because usually when the value of the dollar goes up, cryptocurrency becomes a little bit more. Um, it goes up. It's not a, a immediate fact, but that does seems to be what happens.
Yeah,
But
Bitcoin's up 24% this year.
yeah.
Which is
So
just crazy.
yeah, it really is dope. It really is. But that's the crypto market. Remember, like we say, only invest what you can take a hit on. You know what I mean? Only
I
take
like the way I like that. That's much better than what you
only
can.
invest what you can lose. You can afford to lose. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, you never did like that, did you, though?
No, no.
I know that's right. Well, but check this out though. The topic this week is so interesting because it's one that everybody deals with, but everybody deals with it differently. And I'm really excited about this because I know some of you all know this, but I guarantee you're going to leave out today with something you didn't know. And the topic is intentional. spending?
Yeah, and it's when we talked about talking about this, this is me all over. This is how I think. This is kind of a personal um, description of the way my mind works. And again, I'm not saying the way I think is any better than the way anybody else thinks, but it's driven by my frugalness and my analytical skills. And it translates into how I handle money. And so, when you think about intentional spending, it's not just a budgeting strategy, it's a philosophy that encourages you to pause and think about the impact of every dollar you spend. You try to align your financial choices with what your values are to make sure that every dollar you spend supports not only your personal goals, but also supports the things that are important to you, the things you care about. And so, and it's not just about being frugal or cautious with money. It's an approach that reflects an understanding of what matters in your life.
Wow.
And so, you get into today's fast-paced world, you can lose track of where your money goes. And for many, a lot of people, finances is really just a source of stress. It just makes you, just thinking about it, get you all uptight. If you aren't on top of it, there's uncertainty involved. And especially if you're going through some kind of financial hardship or you're struggling to get your arms around everything. And so this discussion is, you should find something in this because it's for people who are looking to improve their financial wellness. You might be fighting to try to maintain your stability. You might be looking for ways to better manage your earnings, or you just simply want to establish a healthier relationship with money.
Now, intentional spending, it really has nothing to do about, or it's not nothing to do. It's not only about budget strategies. Okay. Now, a common challenge faced by many is the lack of visibility into their spending, like unplanned purchases, emotional buying, and the influence of consumerism. All that advertising where they're trying to get that extra money out your pocket can lead to a disconnect between what you're spending and your true financial goals. Now, this disconnection can result in a cycle of overspending and financial strain, far removed from the values and priorities that are most important to you that guide your financial decisions. Now, today we're going to explore some strategies and tools for effective financial management, explore the benefits of intentional spending, and share some success stories, our stories that exemplify the positive impact of this approach. Now, we'll also provide some practical steps, for adopting intentional spending in your own life, ensuring you're equipped to make this year your most financially mindful yet. Go, you
Yeah,
go first.
let's think about trying to understand intentional spending. At its core, it's about making choices that are deliberate and reflective of what your values and goals are. You think about impulsive or unplanned spending, typically that's going to lead you to regret and it's going to put a strain on your financials. Intentional spending involves conscious, thoughtful approach to how you use your money. And so it's rooted in behavioral psychology. And we're not going to get into psychology, but we're just going to talk about the basics of it. It acknowledges that our spending habits are not just driven by what we need or want, but that's also our values, our emotions, the environment around us. A lot of things push us to spend money. And so if you can understand these psychological triggers, you can reshape your spending patterns to make them more aligned with what your long-term objectives are.
Yeah, dope. It's almost kind of tricky. Everybody know about this, but the contrast with impulse spending, right? Impulse spending is often driven by immediate gratification, or a lot of times external influences such as advertising and social pressure, keeping up with the Joneses. It's reactive based on monetary desires, emotions, rather than careful, consideration, right? So intentional spending, on the other hand, is proactive. It's based on a set of not nobody else's, your defined values and goals. And with that also comes into what's important to you. Because that's what people end up doing, though. When somebody told me, "Oh, Bob, I ain't come over and do what I said I was going to do," I said, "Yeah, I understand. It just wasn't that important to you." It requires us, when we have those values, it helps us to pause and reflect, decide whether a purchase truly aligns, and men don't use this term all the time, with our long term objectives and values.
Yeah, and a lot of times people think of mindfulness as a way to relieve stress, but we think you should think of mindfulness in your spending. It can play a crucial role in intentional spending. It involves being fully aware of all of your financial decisions and their impact. This mindfulness can be cultivated through regular reflection on our spending choices. And that reflection includes looking at things you bought, trying to understand the why behind each purchase, and if it was a bad purchase, not making that same mistake over and over again. And as Bob just said, consider the long-term benefits and consequences of your spending habits.
So our good frat brother Clutch McCargo, he said, "I believe we have the operational define what makes us happy, and we can live with." Like y'all said, I like sleeping peaceful at night. That's true, Clutch, man. Like you said, it's so important to y'all to do what makes you happy. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it mixed up. But though, aligning spending with goals. Now, that sounds good, but what does that really mean? It's a critical aspect. This is a critical aspect of intentional spending. Now, it sounds simple, but most people don't do it. It's aligning your expenses with your personal financial goals. Now, this alignment requires like clear understanding of what we value most, what's important to us, and it could be financial security, supporting ethical businesses, or investing in a personal growth and experience. By focusing our spending on these priorities, we can ensure that our financial resources are used in the way that brings us closer to achieving the desired lifestyle and objectives. Now, let me talk about right quick about aligning spending with our personal values. Now, one of the most empowering aspects of intentional spending is the ability to connect with our financial behavior, which we talked about. Your values, what is deepest, what has the most meaning to you. This alignment not only ensures financial prudence, but it brings a sense of fulfillment and purpose, and it actually helps your spending decisions. Now, understanding personal values and ethical values, the first step is aligning spending with your values so you can clearly define what those values are. So it makes no sense. I know y'all know all of this, but have you ever really taken the time to sit down to do this, to clearly define what's important to you? And this can vary from person to person. Don't get me wrong. For some, it might mean prioritizing, some environmental sustainability things. You might be into green, or electric, EVs. For others, it could be supporting a specific business that has ethical practices, or it might involve a commitment reducing your personal debt. Identifying these values, I know it sounds, you heard, it requires introspection and willingness. And this is the hard part, though. We sometimes it's hard to look at and examine, our beliefs and our priorities sometimes.
Yeah, and again, it's not saying this is easy to do because we've. I think when we first started talking about this, we first started talking about money. We might have talked about how easy it is to manage, but no, we kind of did a whole change, and money is complex, and so there are challenges in trying to align your spending with your values. It's not that easy. The the marketplace is complex and it's not always easy to discern which companies truly align with your values. And you may find something that aligns with your value, but your budget might not allow you to make the ideal choice. And so you got to understand the goal is not perfection. Nobody's going to be perfect in anything they do, but you need to make progress and make more value aligned decisions over time. Again, constrained by your budget. So it's not just about aligning purchases with values. It's also a crucial component of effective financial management. By being more intentional with your spending, you're going to gain control over your financing. And what does that do? That's going to lead to better budgeting. That's going to lead to better savings. That's going to increase your overall financial health. Okay? And we've told you this since we started these podcasts. Budgeting is the foundation of intentional spending. It's where you have to start. You have to have a budget. You know, if you want to adopt intentional spending, the budget's going to provide a clear framework for understanding where your money is going, and it's going to help allocate your resources in a way that reflects your values and goals. And so you talk about budgeting guidelines. You know, we told you some budgeting apps you can use. Really, you can use a paper and pencil and figure out your own budget, and you don't have to have expensive software. But you need to know what's coming in and what's coming out so you can make changes and understand your financial situation.
No, I want to discuss some tools to enhance your financial awareness. Now, personally, there are, you got TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, but they charge to give you a credit score. But there are free tools out there like Credit Karma and Credit Sesame for monitoring your credit. But it's important, for you to know and be aware that these platforms often promote other products, especially loan products. But nonetheless, they're valuable for keeping an eye on your credit score and understanding your financial standing. Because right now, y'all, it's so integral and using these tools, especially reviewing your credit every now and then. In this day and age, there's so much fraud and people stealing your credit identity. You need to be checking it on a regular, at least once a quarter. But, I do a little bit more than that. But this is so essential to financial awareness, and is integral to intentional spending. Now, here's a few strategies for implementing intentional spending. Track your spending. Now, I know you're going to say, I know this. Regularly monitoring your money goals is key. This can be done through a simple, like Doe says, simple spreadsheet. It could be done. They got so many free budgeting apps out there, or it can just be done in your notebook. The important thing is, you all, consistency. And I know we don't do it. I know I sat down with some people who just did this, and they're way up in age, and we know about it, but we don't take the time. You must take the time. I know y'all heard about this, but take the time and do it. Because once you get it down, it's set, and all you have to do is just make a few adjustments when different things change. But it is painstaking and it takes time. The next one, you need to set financial goals. You need to define them between short term and long term. Usually short term is 3 months to 6 months. Long term, they say, sometimes it depends on people, a year to 3 to 5 years, right? But whether it's paying off debt, saving for a vacation, or building an emergency fund, these goals should guide your spending. The next tool, excuse me, you need to reflect on your purchases. How many times do you do that before you buy something? Like we're talking about impulse buying. Before making a purchase, ask yourself if it aligns with your values and goal. Is it that important that you have to have it? Now, this reflection can help avoid impulse buying, and it ensures that your spending is purposeful.
Now, it's going to be financial challenges. Again, nobody said this was going to be easy. But if you are practicing intentional spending, you're going to be better prepared for unexpected expenses. It's going to force you to set aside an emergency fund. It's going to force you to revise your budget to accommodate unforeseen costs. And it's about being flexible, adapting your spending plan to life's reality while still trying to adhere to your values and goals. And so if you are practicing intentional spending, that's going to lead you to a more secure financial future. It's going to help reduce unnecessary expenses because you're going to eliminate some of those things that you shouldn't be buying. It's going to help you build savings. It's going to help you make informed decisions that contribute to your long-term financial stability. And so by prioritizing intentional spending, we take a significant step toward achieving financial independence and financial wellness.
And you did say this is a financial challenge, didn't you, though?
Oh, yeah.
It ain't easy. It's not. Let me tell y'all, building wealth is not easy. We talk about that all the time. But it doesn't mean you can't do it. But there's so many benefits to intentional spending. Like adopting intentional spending habits offers a multitude of businesses. And they extend beyond just your financial savings. It's not just about this. It fosters a deeper understanding about your situation, about your personal finances. It encourages responsible consumption, and it contributes to the overall life satisfaction. For instance, preventing spending and financial stress is a big one. One of the most immediate benefits of intentional spending is the prevention of overspending. We all tend to do it by consciously deciding where to allocate funds based on our values and goals. We will naturally avoid unnecessary impulse purchasing. Let me say that again. By consciously deciding where your funds go based on your goals and your values, you would then naturally, begin to avoid unnecessary impulses to purchase stuff. Because when you go in the store, they have out there in the front, all like Walmart, when you walk in there, those things they got in the front, deep discounted, all stuff they're trying to get rid of, and they put it right there in front so you walk in there and see it. Oh man, you wasn't even thinking about no big bag of M&Ms with peanuts, right? But consciously deciding, it's important, and it reduces stress and anxiety. And anxiety is definitely associated with debt and money mismanagement. Another one, enhance your personal satisfaction and fulfillment. When we spend our money in ways that align with our beliefs and values, we experience a greater sense of satisfaction and no question fulfillment. Each person feels meaningful and purposeful. This could range from joy of supporting a local business to peace of mind that comes with knowing your spending habits are contributing to a larger cause, right? One more I want to talk about, building positive long-term financial habits. Intentional spending encourages development of positive long-term financial habits, not those short-term, that little instant gratification. No, it's about making mindful choices consistently. Consistently is the key, you all. Me and Doe when we talk about anything, we're talking about being in the market, we're talking about spending, we're talking about budgeting, we're talking about savings. It's all about being consistent. Over time, it becomes ingrained in your behavior, and it just becomes natural. Now, these habits lay the foundation for a financial stable security, making it easy to navigate through these difficult times.
Excuse me. Other benefits of intentional spending, and just from a pure economic sense, if you choose to spend money on businesses that are ethical and sustainable, you contribute to a larger movement of responsible consumption, because theoretically, those businesses should do better, and they will continue to adopt practices that are environmentally friendly, socially responsible, and ethically sound. And so the other thing it does, the most important thing it does, is it empowers individuals by putting you in control of your finances. If you're practicing intentional spending, the perspective from being a passive consumer to an active participant in your financial journey. You're on top of everything because you're thinking about everything you spend. So it's not just about saving money, it's about making choices that's going to lead to a more fulfilling and responsible lifestyle.
Wow. Though we got a couple of comments here. Real great to hear. And a lot of people have been listening to us. So we thank y'all. They got some great comments out here. Though, potential spending and consumerism. Now, this is a big one, you all. We talking about all those advertisers that's trying to get that extra dollar out your pocket. What do they call it? Subliminal? Subliminal. Yeah.
Subliminal, yep.
Yeah, where they put stuff in there. But in a world dominated, don't be swayed, don't be misled by consumer culture. Practicing intentional spending can be so challenging. Men don't know this. We're not beating up the victim. We're not victimizing the victim here, but we just want to bring it to your attention. The constant barrage of marketing and the societal pressure to keep up with trends can easily sway us toward impulse buying. However, intentional spending offers a way to navigate this landscape thoughtfully and where you become responsible, So reacting to impulse buying triggered by external influences is major, though. Now, we must resist the temptation of impulse purchases. It's essential to recognize the triggers. That's the thing. They're hidden, though. Those subliminal triggers are there. And these can include advertising, social media influences. All these people out there, social media, there's things in there to advertise. Remember, reason why some of these platforms, podcasts, and social media people get that because they get money advertising dollars. So even, the behavior of people around us can influence us. Be careful of the people you have around it. A friend of mine at work once told me this, though. If you stand around a hot dog stand long enough, you won't want a hot dog. Plain and simple. Being aware of these triggers allows us to consciously choose to act against them, reinforcing our commitment to spending in line with what? The big V and the big T, values and goals.
Yeah, and a lot of things you can think about to help you fight through, let's call it consumerism. First thing is again, mindfulness, mindful consumption. Before you buy something, take a minute to think about it. Ask yourself, is it necessary? Does it align with your values? Does it contribute to your long-term goals? Are you going to regret it? We've tried to drill this in your head. Make educated decisions. Do your research before buying. Comparison shop. Look at the reviews. Understand the practices of the companies you're buying from and whether they align with your ethical standards. A lot of times you need to look at quality over quantity. Try to buy fewer but higher quality items that last longer and provide greater satisfaction, reducing the need to have to replace them every so often. Bob mentioned this a minute ago, but hang around like-minded people. So surround yourself with people who are trying to do the same things you're trying to do or who have already done those, so you can learn from them and you won't be influenced by people who are trying to keep up with the Joneses. Because if you get around like-minded people and people who are trying to build their financial wealth, they probably aren't wasting money on things that are, let's call it, stylish today. And take some time to think about the advertising influence. Sit back and understand that they're trying to create a need that you don't recognize at this point. So understand how and really those needs are artificial. Those needs and desires are things that you aren't thinking about. They put them in your head. If you think about them, you can learn not to react to them. You can learn to ignore them, and you can learn to stay on your plan and on the path that you want to follow.
Let's talk about for a minute, though, about the intentional spending, the impact on the consumer culture. Now, as more people adopt intentional spending practices, guess what? We can collectively influence consumer culture to be more responsible and value-driven. Now, some people won't believe that, but that's what the whole game is, though. Right now, always have been, is to divide and conquer. You know, get us into our individual, get us to be isolated and relying on our self righteousness and our self thought. But the key to solutions to a lot of this is, like I said, come together collectively and be responsible. Now, this shift can lead to more businesses prioritizing ethical practices, sustainability, and even consumer centric approaches. Now, this is important. We hear this all the time. Balancing needs and wants in a consumer society is tough. Intentional spending doesn't mean completely abstaining from consumer culture. Doesn't mean don't do stuff to make you happy. But it's about finding a balance between your needs and your wants. It's a understand that while certain purchases can bring joy and convenience, they should be made with careful consideration, not at the expense of your mental well-being and your values.
Okay, so we're going to give you an easy 1, 2, 3 step of how to do this, how you can adopt intentional spending.
Good.
And it isn't anything new or earth-shattering. It's all basic principles that hopefully we've talked about before. And again, it's a journey. It's not something that you can expect to just tomorrow you're going to do this. But these things can put you on the path to understanding your purchases. The first is identify your values and goals. Think about what matters most to you. It could be financial stability. It could be, you might be environmentally conscious. You know, it might be supporting local businesses or anything that's important to you. Identify your own values and goals. And that's going to guide your spending decisions. And the next thing, guess what this is? Create a budget. Thought you'd get away from that. No, create a budget, one that's aligned with your values. And use a budget to plan your spending and try to stick to it. Allocate your funds in a way that reflects your priorities. And it's not just about limiting spending, it's about spending wisely on things that matter to you. The next thing you have to do is track your spending. Look at what you spent. You might use a spreadsheet, you might use a budgeting app, or you can just simply use a notebook. All of that can be effective. And this tracking is going to help you stay aware of where your money is going. And you can look back and see if it aligns with your values. Take that step to pause before purchase. Don't just go out and buy something without thinking about it, especially if it's a big purchase. Take a day and make sure it's what you want to do. Make sure it aligns with your values and goals. And that pause can be the difference between making a mindful decision and an impulsive one. And don't ever believe when they tell you this deal is only going to be for the day. It's not. Take some time to think about it. Finally, educate yourself on companies and products. Research the companies and products you choose to support and that you choose to buy to make sure that they align with whatever standards you have, be it ethical, value, or environmental, or whatever it is. But always educate yourself as to what you're buying.
And that's important because there's a lot of crap out there, though. I want to continue with some more steps in intentional spending. You mentioned this one, though, but this is another step we got to take. You got to see quality over quantity. Opt for products with services that offer quality and longevity. This approach may cost you more money up front, but often leads to savings in the long run by reducing the need for frequent replacements. That's just common sense, right? Dope. This is a big one. Learn to say no. That's
a real big one. That's a very big one.
That's a big one, man. No, so many people have to learn to say no. It's okay to decline offers, invitations, or purchases that don't align with your values or financial goals. Saying no can be empowering and an important part of maintaining your intentional spending habits. Next, reflect and adjust regularly. Men don't always talk about this. Always review and adjust accordingly. Periodically review your spending habits and budget. Life changes. That's one thing that is consistent, though, is change. And so might your values and your goals. They definitely do change. What's important to you today might not be important tomorrow. Be flexible and willing to adjust your approach as needed. And last, celebrate your progress. We're not saying just be down and Debbie. You know what I'm saying? Recognize and celebrating small victories in your journey towards intentional spending can be highly motivating. It's important to acknowledge the positive changes you're making, even if they're small. That's why we talked about before the avalanche approach of paying the credit off versus the snowball approach. Get some victories, pay off some small bills early to make you, I'm telling you, it motivates us because there's so much negativity these days. We need positive, and you need to recognize your own and celebrate your own victories.
Yeah, and understand there's going to be challenges. Things are going to happen. And economic conditions are going to change. Your personal habits can sometimes make it difficult to stick to your goals. And the aim is just to get better, continuous improvement, not perfection. Don't beat yourself up if you have a little, you make a mistake or you end up buying something impulsively. The thing is, you don't want to continue to make the same mistakes. So if you need help, again, try to get a support system, like-minded people, a financial advisor, if you find yourself struggling, but don't beat yourself up too bad. The goal is to try to get better and continuously improve.
Hey, Dope, one of our favorite viewers, Mo Better, said, what are some free budget apps?
We gave those, and I don't have them handy, but we'll have them at the beginning of next week's show.
But all you have to do, there's so many out there, is Google.
Yeah.
Free budget apps. I mean, there's so many free budget apps out there. And, but
Just make sure you get it from a reputable place, okay?
Right. No, because some budget apps say they're free and they charge you. But like we said before, all you need is a spreadsheet if you know Excel. And if you don't know Excel, how about just putting down a notebook? One side of your page, put your income, and on the other side of the page, put your expenses, and then subtract your income from your expenses from your income and what you have left. Hopefully you have something left. If you don't have enough left, then you need to make some adjustments. You know what I mean, Dope? So, Dope, I'm going to bring this home, man. And I love the topic, intentional spending. And I hope we embrace this, fully embrace this for having a fulfilling financial future. As we, bring this to a close, this exploration of intentional spending is important to remember that this approach is more than just a budgeting strategy. It's a lifestyle choice that can lead to profound personal and financial fulfillment. Man, this can lift the weight off your back or some people, as they call it, proverbial albatross around your neck from all your
yoke. That yoke.
What'd you say, Dope?
That yoke around your neck.
Yes. Intentional spending defined is about making financial choices that reflect your values, goals, and ethics. The benefits are from preventing overspending to enhancing personal satisfaction and contributing to a more ethical economy. The advantages are multifaceted. Practical steps. We discuss practical steps, ways to implement intentional spending, including identifying values, creating a value-aligned budget, and being mindful of each purpose. I encourage you today to take a moment after this show and reflect on your spending habits and ask yourself if your current approach to spending truly aligns with your values and long-term goals. If not, consider making some of the steps that we talked about, the intentional spending. Make it a part of your financial strategy. It's not about being perfect, either, y'all, but it's about making more mindful choices that lead to a better financial future.
And you got to understand, every person's financial journey is different. And so is the approach to intentional spending. It's okay if your journey looks different from others. Bob and I's journeys are totally different, but they both ended up being successful. And what matters the most is that you're taking steps towards a more mindful and value-driven financial life. So, once we get off this, as Bob said, let's embrace the practice of intentional spending with optimism and determination. Remember, each thoughtful spending decision you make is a step towards a more financially stable and fulfilling life. And I think I've told you, I do this just because I'm a nerd that way. I look at every financial decision I make and try to maximize what's coming in and minimize what's going out. Everybody's not going to do that because everybody's not a nerd like me. And the other thing is everybody don't have the financial background that I have. But that still shouldn't stop you from looking at every transaction you make and making sure it's optimized for your own well-being, whether it's how you pay for it, whether it's what you buy from where, that you buy it from the cheapest place, the fact that you use a credit card and you get money back makes a difference. All those things affect your financial life. Every transaction you make is a financial decision, and you should try to optimize it.
We got a lot of comments though.
Hope you're good.
Bo said, "Where did the time go? She came on late. That's where the time when you came on late." She said that was fast. And Mo Better, I think it was something in Mo Better. Oh, she was talking about the apps, right? She said that's why I asked, because we'll make sure that when we come on the next show, we put some out there for you, Mo Better, at the top of the show. Yeah. There was something else. Some people told how okay.
And Bob, a lot of people get overwhelmed and they just say, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. But the key is just to start making good decisions. Okay. And then, not saying you're going to become rich or wealthy or whatever, but if you start making good decisions, your future is going to be better than it is right now. Assuming nothing bad happens or nothing crazy. But just start trying to make good decisions. That's the crux of what we're talking about.
Yes. And Garnett, I think this might be your computer. They said she couldn't hear you and you were hung up. But I think it might be your computer because it wasn't happening on my end. So, let's go to the takeaways, my brother. We talked about a lot again. We put 100 pounds of knowledge in a 10-pound bag. We went through a lot. And guess what, though? It's one of those days. It's not going to let us share.
We can make it work.
Yes. It said the proud continue. Okay. So let's do the overview, though. And I'll be first. First one is balance your needs and your wants. That's so important, you all. First, you need to identify your needs and wants, and then balance them. Now, there's several different approaches to this. Some people say divide your things between your needs and your wants, and some financial advisors say make them all your wants, right? Even you make them all your needs, and then prioritize them. And then what happens? Those wants are going to end up down at the bottom of the list too. But it's just another motivational mindset to look at it. But please balance your needs and your wants.
Impulsive spending can derail your plans in a couple of ways. One, a lot of times you're spending money you don't have. And two, you probably didn't do the research, so you may not be getting the best product at the best price. So try to get away from impulsive spending, make informed decisions.
Next one is align your spending with your goals. That is so important because if you get out of alignment, then you can end up spending on things that you don't even need. And it's so important to identify your goals first and then align your spending with them. And I'm telling you, you'll find so much more satisfaction and you'll have much more control over your finances.
And finally, every dollar you spend is important. Okay. Each thoughtful spending decision you make is a step towards a financially fulfilling life. Think before you spend.
And don't. The last one is what you just said. and we appreciate everybody tuning in. And my good brother, Michael Graham, dope. We have a show every Tuesday at 7:30. It's called the Michael Graham Show. Michael Graham played for that championship team for Georgetown, where your young daughter went to. And just checking us out every Tuesday, by the way.
His daughter went there?
No, your daughter went there. Jesus Christ, dope.
Yeah, my daughter did. Yes, she did.
Yes, she did. Ran track there.
Yeah.
How to get, okay, wait a minute. Mo Better got a question here. How to get out of paying bills. That's what you want to know.
Don't make them.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, no, look, that's what Modestine said too. What you and Modestine's in mind.
Great minds think alike. Great minds think alike.
But once again, prioritize paying your bills, just like everything else, you all. But thank everybody for tuning in. And just the quote. Well, no, I got to give a shout out for everybody because man, we got a lot of people on the note. And thanks for sticking with us. And I got to start. I'm sorry, I'm biased with my sisters, Linda and Gloria. But this week, Nolia's missed it. So I go to my song. Oh, where have my Nolia have gone? Oh, where? Brian Donahue. And I'm pronouncing it right,
What's up, nephew?
And Garnett, hope your computer got straightened out. And my wonderful sister, Gloria, thank you for being on. Modestine. Down there in Lexington, South Carolina. I hope things are good down there. Oh, and the great, the wonderful, the incomparable now. Edwards Doty, how are you now? Thank you. You're always in there supporting us now. Clutch Chicago, dope. Al Penn State Gamma Nu Alpha Phi Alpha brother. Rodney L. Madison Sr. Rodney, way to hang in there with us, my brother. Go check out Rodney, the noteexperience.com. He's got a wonderful another investment alternative. Please check it out. And then the wonderful Mo Better. Mo Better, you may be late, but you're always on time, girl. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate that. Did I get Joanne? No, I forgot Joanne. Can't forget you, Joanne. Thank you for tuning in, Joanne Skinner. You always a winner. And Garnett, got Garnett. I got everybody, dope. So, as always, dope, I'm going to end with today's quote of the day. If you're born poor, that is not your fault. But if you die poor, that is your fault. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of a little cold, ain't it?
It's cold,
but true.
It's true.
Thanks, everybody. Remember, 216 next week, coming to you with another great subject. Remember, putting some ideas in there. Oh, okay. Gloria said, notice on, and she was for the past 3 Thursdays, but thank you, Gloria. I'm sorry. Correction. Nolia has been on here the past 3 weeks, though, and I didn't see her name, so I thought she was on. She's on here again. Sorry, Nolia. I didn't know you were incognito. So thank you. I can't forget my Nolia. Thank you, Nolia, for tuning in. We found it, dope. All right, y'all. Next week, tune in. Please share. Please share with other people. Put it out there. We want to expand our audience and subscribe on YouTube. So, look, same back channel, same bad place next week. Don't have a wonderful week, my brother.
You too, good brother.